what's going on, guys? My name is Brandon. Welcome to Audio Addiction, where you can find latest album reviews, you can find our band interviews, and you can find live coverage of the concerts that we get. I posted an album review of like Moths to Flames, Dark Divine. If you haven't checked that out, definitely do so. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, check out this album review. Of course, if you're watching this, you're already checking it out, so thank you for that. Plenty of good stuff coming along this week, so I'm really excited to share that with you guys. I'll also be posting some live sets that I'll be working on. I'll also be seeing a bunch of shows this week coming up. I the Mighty, Knuckle Puck, and Have Mercy, all three of those tours in the same week. So hope to get video of all those things and have those up for you guys to check out as well. So if you liked any of those things that I just said, make sure to subscribe, make sure you hit that thumbs up so you don't miss out on anything audio addiction related. I'm going to be starting to get into those top 10s for the end of the year, and hopefully you will check that out as well. So tonight, without further ado, we're going to be talking about Polaris' new record, The Mortal Coil. So, for those of you who haven't heard of this band, they are an Australian metalcore band. I don't know the city that they're based out of. I think it's Adelaide, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But they are a great metalcore band that signed with Sharp Tone. As of pretty recently, I've been following this band far before that. I used to watch a lot of Ryan Sue's guitar videos, and then he joined Polaris, which is awesome, and they put out a great EP called The Guilt and the Grief. If you haven't checked that out, I would highly recommend checking that out before you check this album out. But this is their first American release. I think the Guilt and the Grief was only Australia, and since they signed with Sharp Tone, all their things are in the US, so you can pick this up. You can get a physical copy of this. I am super stoked to get this in the mail. I think it's definitely a great album, and I'm going to go through each track, give you my thoughts and opinions on it. I'm going to give some pros and cons, my favorite tracks off the record, and I'm going to finish it out with an overall rating. So the first track on the list is Lucid. This one's the most recent track that they released. They released it with a music video. I think Lucid and The Remedy are the only two that have music videos, but getting back to Lucid, loving that cool solo drum intro. It's definitely something that's ear-catching and something you pick up immediately. Speaking about picking up, the track definitely starts to kick into gear at the 18-second mark. The screams, all that sort of stuff builds. I think between the 10-second mark to the 18-second mark, it kind of just builds, and then 18, it kind of just explodes out the gate, which is amazing. Really enjoying the guitar writing style in this song. Really heavy, very aggressive, and stuff that I like and harken to metalcore. And I think they do this, do this style of music justice. So definitely check that out. I feel like this song comes together, especially at the chorus. It's just some really great, clean vocals. I've really enjoyed that about The Guilt and the Grief, but I like it especially more in this one for some reason. I feel like the clean singing has just been improved, and you can definitely tell that. The 1 minute and 38-second mark to the 2 minutes and 16-second mark, that part just vibes super hard with me. I love the bounce and just the energy that part of the track brings. I think it's after the first chorus, and then kind of in the second verse. I feel like I love the switch up in that regard. It's really different. And it's something that's a little bit unexpected, and I think it just brings a great diversity to the track. The screaming in the song is also super diverse. There's some highs, there's some lows, there's some really great mids, and just all around really solid screaming. And I definitely feel like it's a great opener track. I feel like it gives an idea of the listener, of how the album will sound, and obviously within detail, not all the songs are going to sound like that, but I think for majority, most of them will sound fairly similar to that. So we're going to move into track number 2, which is The Remedy, like I was talking about earlier. This is another single. This one was, I think, a little bit more left field than I was expecting initially. This one has more of a grittier tone than the previous track. I think it works in a really interesting and unique way. I just love the punchiness of it as well. It just kind of hits you, and I know that they did it with Carson and Grant Slovak from Atrium Audio, and they have done bands like, August Burns Red. I was almost blanking about them, but they've done countless bands, and I feel like they always do this band Polaris a justice. So I definitely appreciate that. The second verse is definitely where the song picks up, in my opinion. The chorus soars, and just again with the great clean vocals, I feel like those are some standout moments in a lot of these tracks. I would have liked to see more diverse, clean singing. I feel like there are some songs where the clean singer goes out of his comfort zone, and also just I feel like a lot of the songs, in terms of clean vocals, are just in the choruses. I would love to hear maybe a verse with some cleans or something like that to switch it up and just break up the tracks in an interesting way. But getting back to the Remedy, I think another really great part is between the 2 minutes and 46-second mark to the 3 minutes and 7-second mark. I just like how they slow down the riff, and it just works in this breakdown. And I feel like it's another solid track to add to Polaris's arsenal, and just another solid track in general. So we're gonna move it into track number 3, which is Relapse. The guitar styling in this one feels very reminiscent of Periphery. It has just that Periphery as vibe to it, and that sort of style of music. And just especially the intro riff, and I know that they kind of, no pun intended, riff off of it a little bit later on in the track. But I like, another cool thing that I definitely was picking up while I was listening to the track is that the screamer does kind of these like almost yell kind of parts in the verses, and I also like how he echoes the clean vocalist in the choruses. I really like that juxtaposition. I like that balance. It really works well in this track, and I feel like it adds a unique and diverse layer to the track as well. I also feel like the main focus of this track is definitely the instrumentals. You can tell that they put a lot of time into this one, and you can just hear the really great riff writing that Polaris is able to, achieve in this song. I also feel like the chorus sounds good. Again, I wish the clean vocals would have made their way into the verses, especially in this one. I feel like it would have worked best in this song. And there are maybe a few other songs off the record that I feel like cleans could have made their little way into different parts of the song, maybe a bridge, something like that. I just feel like they're confined to the choruses, and it just, I feel like it doesn't sit right with me in that way. I love the clean vocalist, and I just feel like he deserves some more time up on those in the spotlight for sure. So we're gonna move into track number 4, which is Consume. This one is the oldest single, and I think it's by far, I think they released this one even prior to them having an album, or the newest album, this one, the Mortal Coil, which is really cool. It was just kind of almost like a teaser in a sense, and it worked out. This one definitely is one of the stronger tracks off the record, and it takes no time getting right into it as well. Really enjoyed the groove and the bounce of this one. I feel like it really brings a great energy to the track. Also really enjoying the chorus in this one as well, more specifically the melody. It's definitely one that for me got stuck in my head, and I really enjoy and appreciate that about their songwriting, is that their melodies are very memorable, and they are constructed very well, and they just flow it through in and out through the track very well. There's this really cool breakdown at the 2 minutes and 40-second mark to the 3 minutes and 8-second mark, with a cool guitar solo as well. Really interesting stuff in this song, and it's definitely highlights the drumming and the screaming more specifically in this track. I feel like those are the two stronger sort of like musical pieces that I could pick out when I was listening through to this album, and it's definitely something to be on the lookout for. So we're gonna move into track number 5, which is Fertility. Frailty. I don't know how to pronunciate it. I'm really bad at this stuff. But getting back to the track, I would say that this is amongst the heavier tracks on the record. It just has this really great bite and aggressiveness to it, that I wouldn't say that I was missing, because I do like the other side of what they do, but there's just something about having that just bite and just that intensity that I was missing. So this one definitely pulls into that sort of corner, at least. Probably one of my favorite choruses off the record as well. It just has a really great melody that will absolutely get stuck in your head. The melody lines just are constructed very well, and it just works well in the chorus. I feel like they have constructed really great choruses. I don't think I even have a chorus that I didn't like. I feel like they all have been really solid, and it's something to be look forward to in each one of these tracks. But this one definitely feels like you're in a boxing ring and you're going a couple rounds with a professional boxer. It's just like you're taking beat after beat, and it's got this great like play by play, and just the way it plays out in while you're listening. And I really appreciate that. I don't know if you'll get that metaphor whatsoever, but it just hits with great force, and I appreciate that about it. It also strikes a great balance between heavy and melodic parts. This one has both, and I feel like it does it well in spades for sure. Also, probably one of the more diverse screaming tracks off the record as well. I would probably put this in the top tier in terms of scream diversity. Definitely in that regard, there's a lot of things going on in this track, and it just makes it definitely one of the best tracks off the record. So we're gonna move into track number 6, which is Insomnis Veritas. I'm pretty sure album close at least on that, but this is kind of like an interlude, I'd say. The song really doesn't kind of kick in supposedly until the 1 minute and 20-second mark, but I do like the ambient atmosphere that they were able to create in this track. It really reminisce, at least that part of the interlude and the song just is very reminiscent to me of The Hollow, one of my favorite metalcore records of all time, by Memphis Mayfire, and how they did I think it's the Burden interlude, and it kind of had that same sort of feeling to me. Obviously a little bit more guitar and screaming, which the Burden didn't have, but it definitely harkened back to some of my favorite sort of interludes, and I think that just speaks well for the band and just what they do. So definitely check this one out. And I feel like it offers a great kind of stopping point. I wouldn't say stopping point, but it adds a nice little break in the album that is really refreshing, and I appreciate it. So we're gonna move into track number 7, which is Dusk Today. I like that this song primarily highlights the clean vocals. It has more of a slower melodic approach to it, and I think it works very well in this track, speaking in terms of the clean vocals, which are, I would say there are some screams in this track, but I would say most of the vocals is cleans, which is definitely a switch up from all the other tracks pretty much off the record so far, and the ones to follow without a doubt. But another really important part that I was able to pick out was the 1 minute and 35-second mark to the 2 minute mark. There's this breakdown that kind of comes out of nowhere, and I feel like it kept the song very interesting, and something that when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, and just like it makes you kind of think about their writing style and their thought process, and it just worked out in that regard. Also, another cool, interesting part was at 2 minutes and 44-second mark to the 2 minutes and 56-second mark, there's this nice little guitar solo, and it just the pacing, overall pacing of the track works very well. The slower parts, there are some really slower, kind of more melodic parts, and then there are parts that kind of build up into the solo and just the breakdown and all that sort of stuff, and it just works very well in tandem together, and it has a really interesting flow that I feel like a lot of people will enjoy. So we're going to move into track number 8, which is Casualty. Really liking the technicality of this track. I feel like everything has this sort of fluidity to it, and it's definitely amongst the heavier category songs off this record. And another part that just kind of blew my mind upon first listen and even beyond first listen, the 1 minute and 55 second mark to the 2 minutes and 18 second mark just blew my freaking mind. Really great, hard hitting punch that I'm expecting, that I love about this band, and that they're able to encapsulate into a song like this. Great chorus, memorable melody, and is really catchy. Great groove and bounce to it. It just produced in this track is definitely one of the strongest tracks off the record, and not much else to say about that one. So we're gonna move it into track number 9, which is the slow decay. I and this was after a few listens. I didn't know how I feel about this one. I still don't know how I feel about this one. It may change once I do top 10, and I'll talk about that. But this one just didn't grab me like the rest of the other tracks did. I feel like instrumentally, vocally, everything going along with the track just was solid, but there wasn't like a hook, or there wasn't like a melody that was just kind of turn the light bulb on, or the gears, turning and stuff like that. Not to say that it's a bad song. I just feel like there wasn't something that just turned that switch on in my head that was like, man, this one is a solid one. I will say at the 2 minutes and 15 second mark to the 2 minutes and 35 second mark, there's a really sick breakdown in this track, which I feel like is a little bit of a saving grace to this one. But overall, I don't know. It wasn't grabbing me as much as the rest. Maybe I have to give it a few more listens. I did go through this album a couple times prior to me writing this up and reviewing it. So, it goes through a process, and, maybe later on when I listen to it some more and just isn't, I wouldn't say under the clock, but, I feel like there's certain songs that, I may have not have liked initially, but later on I come to love. So this one I think is a grower, certainly, and I feel like I need a little bit more time with it for sure. So we're gonna move into track number 10, which is Crooked Path. Liking the cool electronic sort of piano-esque intro. I really feel like it bleeds well into the rest of the instrumentals when they kick in, and it just works in a very fluid manner, and I appreciate that. Just as a listener, I appreciate the transition was very smooth, and there wasn't any sort of hiccups with it. The chorus is definitely my favorite off the record. It was just one of those songs that after the first listen, I came back, I listened to it. It was just, I feel like they struck gold with this one, without a doubt. The melody is super good, and it is definitely memorable in my opinion. The instrumentals are really sick in this track as well. They have some really kind of lead lines sporadically filled out through the song, and it just adds this awesome depth to the track. I've always liked their lead lines, but I feel like more specifically in this track, they really kind of honed in on that. And I feel like the screams in this song in particular just struck an emotional chord with me. They just hit with such emotion and just such passion behind it, and I really appreciate that. I would say that this one kind of combines the elements that I know and I expect from Polaris into a track, and it just works out perfectly. Just everything in the track is 100% solid, and I definitely would say that this is one of my favorites, as if that wasn't clearly evident. So we're gonna move into the last track, Sonder. This one gives me a Silent Planet sort of vibe to it in terms of the screaming and just the way it's arranged. It's very ambient, very like spaced out in terms of like the way that Silent Planet does stuff, and it's really unique, and I appreciate the approach from that from in terms of this song. The screaming in this track is absolutely impeccable. Probably one of the best screaming songs off the record as well. I feel like it just shows off the expansiveness of Polaris without a doubt. I feel like they experimented with this one and just took a different approach to it, and it brought a cool uniqueness to the track that I wasn't expecting. And every time I get to this one, it's one that I'm like, kind of, I wouldn't say taken aback, but it's just like, wow, they did something different and it worked. So I definitely appreciate that. It's ambient, but it has great punch to it. Again, much like Silent Planet, in the way they do things, I would attribute that same sort of feeling to this band. Great track to end the record off with, and I couldn't be more proud of this record. I mean, this band, has really kind of climbed the ranks in terms of bands that I've really enjoyed, and I think they have solidified themselves as being one of my favorites, at least for this year, and hopefully, years to come. But some of my favorite tracks off the record were Lucid, The Remedy, Consume, Fertility, Frailty, whatever, Casualty, Crooked Path, and of course Sonder. I feel like some pros and cons of the record, really diverse. I feel like they definitely stepped up their game from the past record, The Guilt and the Grief, and just sound identity. They know what they want, they know what they go for, and they achieve what they go for, and I appreciate that. Well, while each song doesn't sound the same, and I would hope that they don't, there is just a great diversity, but they know that this is Polaris' sound, or if they do something, if they experiment with it, they know to keep it in that sort of confine of a Polaris sound, but also reintroducing new sounds, new feelings, new emotions, and stuff like that, which just really play out into the overall feeling of the songs in the album. So definitely appreciate that. And one con, for me specifically, I would say that there wasn't enough cleans. I feel like they could have added some more cleans. Like I said, they could put it in the verses, or they could put it in the bridge, or they could have really incorporated the cleans a little bit more, and I feel like they weren't getting enough love, just because I love them. I love the cleans in this track. I love the screams as well, but I feel like the cleans are a little bit underrated, and I would love to hear some more cleans in future records from Polaris. But overall, I really don't have any other cons out excluding that one, and it's a really great follow-up to The Guilt and the Grief. I couldn't have expected anything better. If you've been sleeping on this band, please stop doing that right now and go check out this record. It's definitely a great band from Australia, and I'm sure that they would appreciate your support on their debut record on Sharp Tone. Definitely go check this one out. And I almost forgot, but my overall rating for Polaris' The Mortal Coil, I'm going to be giving it a 9.6 out of 10. Definitely one of these records to check out. I think it's in contention for Album of the Year for sure. Great melodies, great heaviness, great melodicness, and it just works. They know what they need to do, and I feel like they achieved it without a doubt. So definitely go check out Polaris' The Mortal Coil if you haven't already. It came out Friday, so definitely go check it out. If you enjoyed my review, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Let me know what your thoughts are on this record. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Definitely let me know in the comments section below. Also, if you'd like to support me, there's a link to our merch store. If you want to pick something up, that would be greatly appreciated. I hope to be doing some sales in the future for that, so people can hopefully pick something up and support me. And I just want to thank you guys for really supporting what I do and really backing what I do. I do this all for the love of music and the passion. So as much as I'd like to get this job, get a job like this to do it, where I get paid to do it, unfortunately, that's not the case. So if you want to support me in that way, thank you so much. I can't thank you guys enough for doing that, and it just means a lot, more than you know. So my name is Brandon. We hope you got your fix, and we'll be talking with you soon. Peace. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Of course, if you enjoy what we do, make sure to go check out the other series we do. We do album reviews, we do band interviews, and we do live videos, so definitely go check that out. Hit that subscribe button. It really helps out our channel, helps us grow. Make sure to hit that like button as well. Go follow us on social media. That's all down below. We try to keep that as updated as possible. We also made a new website where we'll be posting photos of upcoming concerts and stuff like that, which you can go check out at audioaddictionmedia.com, and come get your fix with us, guys. Talk to you later. Deuces.